Hi, today we are going to talk on corrosion protection methods. This topic is also belong to the course MM304 corrosion engineering. What we understand by corrosion protection? So as we know, corrosion is a natural occurring process. It cannot be fully stopped. However, to protect the metal and metal alloys and to increase the life of metal alloys based systems and equipment, a control over corrosion is an important process. Moreover, by controlling the corrosion rate by some mean of or by using some technique, we can increase the life of the material as well as it will be also economically good. So in this topic we are going to learn what kind of methods can be adopted to do the corrosion control or to reduce the corrosion rate. So in general, the corrosion protection is the application of anti-corrosion layer to prevent damages to equipment or facility caused by corrosive media or corrosion reaction. And here we are going to discuss about the control by using effective method and strategies. Following can be the major methods or the procedures which are generally adopted to do the corrosion protection or to reduce the corrosion rate. So number one is coating, number two is inhibitors, three is cathodic and anodic protection, fourth is material selection, and the fifth one is material design. Let's begin with the coating. So if you remember, or you usually see across or around us, see the table, metallic tables, iron base chair, door, even handrails, even the automobiles. In all this equipment, we have seen there is a coating, a kind of paint is there. So the paint is basically applied for a protection layer. It is working as a barrier layer so that medium is not going to expose or going to interact with the metal and metal alloy, and it protect from the degradation of material or metal or maybe the corrosion of that metal. Moreover, it is also going to give the better look of the equipment or the device. Hence, we can say the function of protective coating is to provide a satisfactory barrier between the metal and its environment. And in general, the coatings can be divided or categorized into three types. Maybe we can use metal as a coating, so maybe the call metallic coating. Inorganic material can be coated, can call inorganic coating, and of course if organic material is coated over the metal or alloys, then we can say these are the organic coating. A typical multifunctional coating can provide an aesthetic appearance, corrosion control, good adhesion and abrasion resistance. Let us start with the metallic coating first. So classification of metallic coating, we can divide into the two class. One is the noble metals or the noble coating which provide only barrier protection, and the second one is the sacrificial coating. In addition to barrier protection also provide cathodic protection. So basically in one case we apply a metal which is more novel as compared to the metal which is used in an application, so that the coating layer or that noble metal layer is going to protect the inner layer, and by mean of this we can reduce the corrosion rate. Or other way around, we can use a sacrificial coating. So in addition to the barrier protection also provide the cathodic protection. So if this is there, then this layer may degrade first or reduce first, and By this way, you can protect the inner layer. So noble coating could be nickel, silver, copper, lead or chromium on steel, because it's a relative term. So we have to first see what is the our material to whom we are willing to protect. So here if we are willing to protect the steel, then nickel, silver, copper, lead or chromium can be applied as a noble metal, because noble in the galvanic series with respect to the base material. Noble coating always be prepared with the minimum number of pores, because if pores are there, then again your material is going to have the interaction with the environment, and that any existing pores be as small as possible. So there should be minimum pores, and if there is any pores, it should be very small. Sacrificial coating, zinc cadmium, the direction of galvanic current through the electrolyte is from coating to the base metal. The base metal is cathodically protected. So in sacrificial coating, let's say the zinc and cadmium, which is going to basically degrade first as compared to the base material. So what are the methods or the technique that can we adopt to do the metallic coating? So application method, it could be electroplating, electroless plating, hot dipping, thermal spraying, cladding, vapor deposition, ion implantation, laser processing. These variety of method can be applied when we are going to coat the metallic layer over a base material. Let's look these different techniques in very brief. So electroplated coating. Here in this method, electrodeposition of an adherent metallic coating upon a metal or alloy is performed by electroplating. Electroplating means we are using one material as a node and another material, a base material on which we are willing to deposit a metal, will be utilized as a cathode, as you can see here. So let's say this is our base material on which we are willing to coat a zinc. So basically zinc is in the solution, and when we apply a battery, a power difference or a voltage difference, so then this zinc ion will get reduced on the surface of the cathode and it will be deposited over the surface of cathode, and by this way we can deposit the metal. So any kind of metal or whatever we are selecting as based on the base material as per the requirement, we can coat using this method. Here immerging a metal in a solution of metal. So let's say metal is steel and then we are immersing in zinc ion based solution, as you can see here in figure, and then passing current directly between the metal and another electrode. The nature of the deposit depend mainly on the factor. So what was the thickness, what was the crystalline structure, whether the pore is there or its film is dense. So all these things will depend upon the temperature of the bath, current density, how much current we are applying, how long we are continuing this deposition, so time, and of course the composition of the bath, whatever the electrolytes are there. Generally, zinc and cadmium deposit on steel act as active coatings and protect steel by cathodic protection. Several metals commonly coated on steel are noble in iron. Second method is electroless metal coating. So in the first one was the electroplating. Here we are not applying any current or any bias. Therefore we calling it electroless, or we are saying if there is no electrode, even whatever metal is there, that metal is going to react and chemically metal reduction will be done. So there in first one we were doing the electrochemical metal reduction. Here it's chemical reduction of metal. So let's say we have a solution of one metal ions, and if we are immersing the base material and if there is a chemical reaction which reduce the metal ions which is present in the solution, and if that metal ion can deposit over the surface of a metal, then we can say it's electroless metal coating. So deposit without the help of electric current. Electroless nickel coating are achieved by the autocatalytic chemical reduction of nickel ion from aqueous solution. Generally, nickel, phosphorus and nickel boron coatings are produced by using this method, and these coatings are amorphous in nature because they're doing just by chemical reduction and provide excellent corrosion resistance in wide range of environment. And here you can see the figure of here a SCM image of nickel coating, and even they have also compared the coated and without coated sample, whatever the difference in the corrosion current. The third method is hot dip coating. So as the name itself says, like the hot solution is there, and then we usually dip the base material or the material which we want to protect. As you can see here, basically it's a sequential operation. In first couple of steps, let's say the step 1, 2 and 3, if you see here, these are more usually surface preparation. If you see here, they are known as the surface preparation, means we generally do the cleaning of the surface, and if any oxide layer or any other layer is there which is not favorable to get the coating, that is removed off. So it's in general it's a coating. Then next step is drying here, and let's say if we are going to coat the zinc on the top of steel, so let's say steel bar is there which is clean till here, and then here we are having the molten zinc bath. Then we are just dipping in the zinc bath and then just see whether it's deposited properly or not. So we can do the inspection also, and that inspection we can understand whether it's dipped properly and whether all the coating is uniform or not. So this is the hot dip coating. The process, which is low melting point, metal is applied as a protective coating. The material to be coated is immersed in a molten bath of the coating metal. Although hot dipping method can be applied over a wide variety of material, it is commonly used as a protective or for protection of steel. Hot dip coating can be applied by continuous or batch process, maybe one by one, otherwise we can make a batch and batch. So both are possible is there. Aluminium and zinc are most commonly used metal to be coated to steel by this method. And further, hot dip zinc coated steel are generally known as galvanized steel. So this word is very popular. You have seen in many advertisement of vehicles, like the bodies galvanized steel, even the structure is galvanized steel. So that means that steel is there and which is having a hot dip coating of zinc, so that the bodies become more protective for corrosion. The corrosion will not going to affect that much as in compared to bare steel. Next one is the thermal spraying. So again, if we can spray the hot solution of metallic ions over a surface of the metal or alloy with which we want to protect. So see, it's simple here. Let's say the gas is there and then the powder of that metal, and mix of this gas and powder, and then the flame. We are creating a kind of hot flame, and that is going to deposit over the surface of metal. So here again, variety of different techniques are there. It may be the flame based spraying or plasma based spray, or maybe other spray coatings which are usually used for metallization. High velocity oxy-fuel and cold spray, these all different names are there. The coating material can be powder or rod or wire or liquid, and the coating material are heated to a plastic or molten state and then propelled by a stream of compressed gas onto the substrate. When these particles strike the metal surface, they flatten and form thin platelets and adhere to the prepared surface. So by this way, we are able to control the coating process. Next one is the cladding. So cladding is basically a kind of protecting layer. If you remember, like we usually do the kind of lamination, right? So in lamination, what we are doing, we are having paper, which basically the paper you want to save it from any environment. You just use one top layer of polythene and then the bottom layer of polythene or kind of plastic sheet, and then you just hot press it. So similarly, what you know, in kind of metal also we can do that thing, like in the centerpiece, whatever base material is there you can put, and top and bottom you can put the cladding material. So even you can see here, let's say the base material is in between and then cladding material is in top and bottom, and then we are doing a cold cladding process, a kind of rolling, and we can just get a coating layer. So bonding together of dissimilar metals achieved by rolling of two sheets of metal together. Hot roll bonding, maybe can by heat, or cold roll bonding, explosive bonding, and weld cladding. These are the different names, and which is having slight different methodology. For example, a nickel and steel sheet are hot rolled to get composite nickel steel sheet. Similarly, high strength aluminium alloy are cladded with commercially pure aluminium to have a good barrier to corrosion. So this is the next method. Next one is the vapor deposited coating. So here we prepare the vapor of metals, and that can be deposited under vacuum conditions. A well-known system is chemical vapor deposition, ion beam deposition. These names are there. So accomplished in a high vacuum chamber, PVD and CVD. Coating material is vaporized by heating electrically, or vapor is going to be created by some other mean also. A species to be deposited is transferred and deposited in form of individual atom or molecules. It is pore free and highly dense. So this is method which give a very good quality of the deposition, and it's very dense, almost minimum pores. However, limited due to more expensive. Technique is expensive. Moreover, large area coating is very difficult. So it's not very familiar. We can apply this, but depend on what kind of application we are looking for. In similar manner, another technique is ion implantation and laser based processing, where we are having a, let's say, a ion source, and we are having a laser beam which is mixed together and focus on the target, and we can deposit the ions. So high energy ion beam are used to modify surface to combat issues related to the corrosion and wear. By ion implantation, it is possible to enhance the passivation characteristics or create a novel material. Laser processing helps to produce corrosion resistant surface layer transformation, hardening, surface melting, and surface alloying achieve layer processing. So that was about the metallic coating. The second point was the inorganic coating under the coating. So here maybe inorganic materials such as metal oxides and all are usually coated over the metal or metal alloy to protect from the corrosion. So inorganic coating is non-metallic. Inorganic coating includes ceramic coatings, conversion coatings, and anodized coating. So you can categorize in this name. The inorganic particle in the sol gel coating generally act as a good barrier against corrosive species. Can classified vitreous enamels, Portland cement coating, and chemical conversion coatings. So these three we can give the name based on the type of system. So let's say whatever the vitreous enamels, so material made by fusing powder glass to a substrate by firing. Okay, and here the glass coating of suitable coefficient of expansion fused on metal. So basically top of metal we are just going to coat a glass layer. Fused powder of the glass is going to coat, and that is known as a vitreous enamel. Mostly used on steel, but some coating are also possible on copper, brass, and aluminium. Here the composed essentially of alkali borosilicate and can be formulated to resist strong acid, mild alkalis, or both. So if you are coating the powder glass over the metal, then this is even quite good. It has very good resistance for acid, and also mild resistance for alkalis or higher pH. But the issue is this should not be any crack, another defect, otherwise it's not going to work that much good. Susceptibility to the mechanical damage and cracking by thermal shock are the main weakness of the glass coating. So if you are doing a glass coating, let's say mechanically you just damage that coating, or maybe to the thermal expansion or something, that coating may be cracked. So this is the one way, but these are the issues also associated with the vitreous enamel kind of coatings. Next one is the Portland cement coating. The coating can be applied by centrifugal casting as for the interior of the piping, by troweling or by spraying. By spraying up, we can do this kind of coating, Portland cement. Usually thickness range from 5 to 25 mm. Quite thick coating is there. This coating are usually reinforced with wire mesh, used to protect cast iron, steel, water pipe on the water or soil side, are both used on the interior of hot and cold water tank, oil tank, chemical storage tank. So this Portland cement can be coated on these kind of applications. This Portland cement coating usually cured for 8 to 10 days. So it's kind of cement, we are just going to coat it. So as we are doing the curing for normal cement or concrete structure, similarly this kind of curing is required before exposure to the non-aqueous medium such as oil or whatever medium is there. Here again the issue is the sensitivity damage by mechanical or thermal shock. In sulfate rich water, Portland cement may be attacked, or if lot of sulfur content is there, then also this kind of coating may not be very suitable. Now the third one is the chemical conversion coating. So protective coating form in situ by chemical reaction. So in first two cases, in one case we were doing the glass coating, in second one we were doing the cement coating under the inorganic coating. The third one is we are just going to make some material by just reacting the two chemicals on the metal surface. Let the example is PbSO4, which form when lead is exposed to the sulfuric acid, and iron fluoride, which form when steel container are filled with the hydrochloric or hydrofluoric acid. Phosphate coating on the steel are produced by the brushing or spraying a cold or hot diluted manganese or zinc acid orthophosphate solution onto a clean surface of steel. So under the chemical conversion coating, we can have different materials. One may be the oxide coatings. So oxide coating, let's say iron oxide or tin oxide or titanium oxide, dioxide. So oxide coating on steel can be prepared by controlling high temperature oxidation. So it's simple way, we just control the oxidation at high temperature and we can have a layer of oxide over the metal, or by immersing in hot concentrated alkali solution containing the persulfate, nitrate or chlorates. If we are having a solution, hot solution, if we are dipping the metal there, then also chance to have a oxide coating. Coatings blue, brown, black in color consist mostly of iron oxide Fe3O4, which are not very protective. When rubbed with inhibiting oil or wax, as it is often done with oxidizing gun barrel, some protection is obtained. So if this is there, and if you are again putting the wax and all, then protection will be there. Oxide coatings on aluminium are produced at room temperature by anodizing. Oxidation of aluminium, called anodizing, is a suitable electrolyte. So anodizing is also possible, and by doing this we can have a aluminium oxide coating. Chromate coating are produced on zinc by immersing the clean metal for a few seconds in sodium dichromate solution. Acidify it with sulfuric acid at room temperature. So these were the method, three method basically which we use about kind of inorganic coating. Now we are moving about the organic coatings, which is more about, we call about the paint or mix, organic and inorganic hybrid kind of coatings. So organic coating act as a relatively thin layer between the substrate material and the environment. And organic coating efficiency depends on following parameter. The number one is mechanical property of coating system, like how we are coating and what kind of mechanical property is there. type and the concentration of suspended inhibitors, the coating, what kind of inhibitors are there, pre-treatment of the metal surface, addition of the coating to the underlying metal base, additives that inhibit substrate corrosion, organic coating formulation contains, so in case of organic coating, these are the basically parameter which affect the performance of the coating, and how we decide which what kind of coating is there, what kind of content is there. So there is 5 parameters. What solvent is there, then what is the binder or the resin, then what is the pigment, then filler and additives. Based on these 5 we can have variety of different organic coatings. So organic coatings are classified according to the resin or chemical composition. So we know, right, the resin is there or the chemical composition. Based on that we can have a what kind of organic coating is there. Organic solvent perform several functions. They dissolve the resin, control coating viscosity and evaporation for film formation, and affect film adhesion and coating durability. So solvent is going to play a very, very important role here when we are designing an organic coating. Then we are having additive and filler. So additive and filler generally provide the uniformity, because how thick coating is there, what kind of structures or you can say the textures is coming at the surface. So improve the coating flow, surface drying, how surface is going to decrease the permeability of water and oxygen. Before applying the top coat, it may be necessary to apply a primer coat that possess inhibitive property and good surface adhesion. So here you can see the figure. Let's say the substrate is the steel which you want to protect, then the surface preparation, then primer coat, then intermediate coat, and then finish coat. So these 2-3 coatings may be required to protect the metal. So classification is based on organic coating and paint is based on the resin binder. Classification according to the chemical structure of the resin binder. So this is the important factor. So one is resins. Resin could be vinyl resin. So if vinyl resin is there, then vinyl coating are copolymer of vinyl chlorine and vinyl acetate. Vinyl copolymer require a large amount of solvent to dissolve, and vinyl coats are applied in thin vinyl coat are applied in thin coats and required several up to 5 layers to coat the substrate. So basically if vinyl base resin is there, then multiple coating is required because one layer gives a very thin coating. Vinyl copolymer has excellent protection against acid, alkali and water, and good protection against weather. So this is one kind of resin. Similarly, second resin could be acrylic resin, which is synthesized from polymer of primary polymeric or acrylate ester or polyethyl acrylate. This is very stable in oxygen and UV light, and this is generally used as a household paint. Then next one is alkaline oil base. This is excellent adhesion properties and used for mild chemical fumes. These coating polymerized by air oxidation at room temperature. Another one is the modified alkalides, silicon base or amino acids. Next one is chlorinated rubber. So next one is epoxy resin base or urethane resin base synthesized from isocyanates and a chemical compound with hydroxyl or urethane group including water, polyester, epoxy and acrylic. So maybe the polyester resin base. So these were like variety of different resins are there, and based on the resin the property of organic coating will be different. Similarly, the second point is the pigment. Pigment provide the color and opacity, decrease water permeability and protect the cure region against UV radiations. So what kind of pigment is there in organic coating, that also affect the overall protection performance. The typical pigment material has titanium dioxide, carbon and iron oxide based particle. The size may be varying from 0.01 and to 10 micrometer. Type of pigment, chemically resistant pigment, sacrificial pigment, it's a zinc and all, and active pigment. White pigment are zinc oxide, titanium oxide, zinc sulfate, white lead and lithopone are mixture of zinc sulfide and BaSO4. So these they are having a different properties based on the requirement. We can select a different kind of pigment based coating. Then solvent, additives and filler. Solvent are used to carry, dissolve or suspend resin and evaporate from the coating after application. So how slow or fast it is going to dry, what will be the viscous nature of the paint or the coating, that is basically decided by the organic solvent or additive and fillers. Additive in small amount are used as a mildew inhibitors, surface drying additive and barrier forming additive to protect the resin from heat and UV degradation. Then filler decrease the permeability of oxygen and water in the coating. So these were basically the type of organic coatings, and what are those parameters or the input on which the property of organic coatings depend. Now if we are thinking for a good vapor barrier, provide a good vapor barrier, what we have to take care? So all paints are permeable in some degree to water and oxygen. The diffusion path through a paint film is normally increased by incorporating pigment. So if we are incorporating pigment, then of course this diffusion path will be larger. Diffusion on the other hand tend to accelerate by electron osmosis whenever the coated metal is made the cathode of the galvanic couple are in cathodically protection, not protected. Inhibit against corrosion. Pigment incorporated into the prime coat should be effective corrosion inhibitor. Must be soluble enough to supply the minimum concentration of inhibiting ions necessary to reduce the corrosion rate, yet not soluble to a degree that they are soon leach out the paint. So this is the another properties we have to look out. The inhibitors provide long life at low cost. A paint system lasting at least 5 years justified double the cost of paint if the more expensive paint provide 30% longer life or last shorter of the 7 year. So these things, metal surface preparation, let's say we have to do the cleaning properly, dirt, oil, grease, this should be removed out from the surface, complete removal of rust and mild screen. So that was all about on the one topic, that was the coatings. In the next discussion I will come with the other method. Till, thank you very much.